Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber Internet, streaming TV, home security and automation in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Mallard Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. lawmg.com. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. A new study puts Indiana near the bottom of the nation for the health of its residents.
We have some real challenges, particularly relating to the epidemic of substance abuse, death from drugs, premature mortality.
Reporter Brock Turner joins us to discuss how the latest Mexico-Canada trade agreement will affect Indiana's economy. And we take a trip around the Hoosier state to find the biggest high school gym.
Certainly there's a lot of community pride in saying we have the biggest.
Those stories, plus the latest news headlines from across the state, right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. Well, Indiana is getting low marks on a survey ranking all 50 states based on the health of its residents. The Hoosier state ranks in the bottom 10%. Among the worst places in Indiana is Scott County. The area was ravaged by an HIV outbreak in 2015. Now, things are improving, but as Adam Pinsker reports, it may take a long time before the statistics show it.
Scott County's HIV prevention coordinator, Kelly Hans, gears up for what's expected to be a busy day at the one-stop shop in Austin.
We're just that non-judgmental, friendly face. We'll help you do whatever it is that you need to do. If you're still going to use, just make sure you're safe while you're using.
The Scott County Syringe Service Program has been in effect since an HIV outbreak ravaged the county back in 2015.
I was out there in the madness when the outbreak happened, so it was a very scary being on the other side of it.
Now she's giving back to her community as a peer recovery coach at the county's one-stop shop for the syringe program, counseling, wound care, hepatitis C, and HIV testing.
We're not any different than any other community. We just hit national news because of it.
A lot of factors contributed to the HIV outbreak here. The clinic where Hans works didn't used to be here. People had to drive outside of the county for these types of services. America's Health Foundation survey ranked Indiana 41 out of 50 states. There was no change in the ranking from 2018, and the state has declined slightly since 2017 when it placed at 38. Indiana also ranked 41st in 2015. The report says schools, stable jobs, and safe neighborhoods are foundational to achieving long, healthy lives. The report also points to poverty as one of the issues that contributes to poor health and the lack of affordable housing.
We use 35 core measures of health, everything from clinical care measures to population health to behavioral measures, and then we use them to rank states.
Indiana also saw drug deaths increase between 2007 and 2019 from an average of 8.5 to 23.5.
We have some real challenges, particularly relating to the epidemic of substance abuse, death from drugs, premature mortality.
They kind of talk about some of the demographics. And then
Drug coordinator for the Coalition to Eliminate Substance Abuse, Lori Crosdell, says while she agrees with most of the study, she sees significant improvement in Scott County since 2011, when there were 19 drug overdose deaths in the county.
this year we currently have 4, so we're on a downward trend.
Crosdell says 2 of the victims may have died after using heroin cut with fentanyl. But she attributes the overall drop in Scott County overdoses this decade due to the introduction of naloxone, or Narcan, a drug used to counter the effects of opioids.
I always carry 2 in my purse at all times because I never know if I'm going to be, what if I'm at a restaurant and somebody overdoses accidentally in the restroom.
CEASE, which was established by the Indiana Criminal Justice Institute in 1989, is emphasizing education in its latest action plan. Crosdell says the organization is trying to reach kids that live in homes where parents are addicts and their children are vulnerable.
You build resilience in the children. And how do you do that? There's a lot of resilience building activities, and then there's prevention and education.
But for those who are in a continuous battle with themselves to conquer their addictions, Hans wants them to know there is a way out.
A lot of people that we see in here are people that I've known from my past. So just that hope shot. If Kelly can do it, I can do it.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Adam Pinsker.
President Donald Trump's long-awaited trade plan, the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement, is done. Reporter Brock Turner joins me to break down what that will mean for Hoosiers. Brock, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Joe.
So let's just start kind of basically, what would this international trade agreement mean for Hoosiers?
Yeah, so the trade deal really affects two major groups of Hoosiers, and those would be any manufacturing as well as farmers. Pharmaceutical companies, though, are not terribly happy about this deal because it sort of takes away some of the protections that they've had selling their drugs to Mexico and Canada in terms of name brand drugs.
So in Indiana, you think about manufacturing, especially cars and auto and farming. Let's just start with the auto industry. How will it affect that?
Yeah, so for the auto industry, really they have a couple of key points that they're focusing on. The majority of the deal revolves around where parts are manufactured and where those vehicles are assembled. Some companies are going to have to shift their production back to the United States in order to hit those thresholds that they want to hit, which certainly could help some Hoosier communities that have been ravaged by plants kind of rolling out of town.
And then the other big impact, of course, Hoosier farmers.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a huge, important deal for farmers as well. Predominantly farmers, poultry farmers as well as dairy farmers. Corn and soybean farmers aren't really impacted by this deal. Would be more impacted by a Chinese trade deal. But folks tell me that a lot of the bones for this deal can sort of be applied to China because they were addressing complex issues like intellectual property rights and other types of issues like that. But the big one, I think, is for poultry farmers who get greater access to those export markets, as well as dairy farmers, which Canada allowed to close some of the loopholes, which will help prop up American dairy farmers.
All right, Brock, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Joe.
Now for this week's top stories. A fifth Hoosier has died from a vaping-related lung injury. Nationwide, 52 people have died this year, and there have been more than 2,400 hospitalizations reported. The median age of the people who died is 52, but most people who suffered lung damage have been much younger, with half in their teens or early 20s. Attorney General Curtis Hill wants the U.S. Supreme Court to decide whether a South Bend clinic that performs abortions will stay open. Whole Woman's Health Alliance first tried to open the clinic in 2017, but the state said the organization's application was incomplete and inaccurate. After being rebuffed twice by the state again, it sued. The courts allowed the South Bend facility to open. Indiana already has another abortion case pending at the High Court, a lawsuit challenging a 2017 law forcing women to have an ultrasound at least 18 hours before an abortion. The Trump administration is cutting off Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program benefits, or food stamps, for about 700,000 Americans. As Emma Atkinson reports, the rest of the nation will end up looking a lot more like Indiana.
U.S. Agriculture Secretary Sonny Perdue toured a Work One training site in Indianapolis this week. He says good job training and a strong economy is the right recipe to get people off of government support.
When you have unemployment this low, means that you got fewer people out here, but we got jobs that are crying for people. We have more jobs than we have people looking for jobs, which ought to make it easier for those who are on these benefits to move off of that into a job.
The new policy affects low-income adults who don't have disabilities or children. They're already restricted to just 3 months of food stamps within a 3-year period unless they work or train to work 20 hours a week. But most states have long had waivers for that rule, extending those benefits longer. Come April, a new Trump administration rule will largely bar states from doing so. Indiana, though, isn't affected because, unlike all its neighboring states, it already cuts off benefits for that pool of SNAP recipients.
This is a great example of what we'd like to see and what we fund in the SNAP program for educational and training. Indiana just does it best.
Purdue points to Indiana as a model for other states trying to get individuals back to work.
We're here to look at the kind of tools that help other states to get where Indiana is as far as work training, whether it's educational training, a high school equivalency.
The SNAP cuts have been decried by many, including the Indiana Institute for Working Families. It notes Congress has previously rejected such attempts to cut off access to benefits. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Emma Atkinson.
Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb is pushing for rules to curb tobacco use amongst young people in Indiana. As Tyler Lake reports, Holcomb wants to raise the minimum age to buy tobacco and vaping products from 18 to 21.
That initiative, which Holcomb calls long overdue, is part of his 2020 agenda he announced this week. Health groups and the Indiana Chamber of Commerce have long pushed to raise the legal smoking age to 21 without luck. Holcomb says the sharp spike in vaping among young people helped convince him to push for the change now.
And it's just horrifying to me that sixth graders are now vaping consistently, are addicted to nicotine.
To go along with that, Holcomb also wants to increase fines on irresponsible retailers.
Folks who are knowingly selling to underage users, we're going to come after you.
He says he won't yet call for a ban on flavored vaping products, as other states have, because he says he doesn't want to punish people who are trying to find a deterrent to smoking. House Speaker Brian Bosma also recently announced a shift in his view on the smoking age, saying he'll back an increase to 21 in the upcoming session. Another part of Holcomb's 2020 agenda, the governor wants to ban Hoosier motorists from using their cell phones while driving unless they're hands-free. Indiana already bans texting while driving, but administration officials say that's largely unenforceable because there are so many other legal ways to use a phone that's still distracting. The 2020 legislative session begins January 6th. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Tyler Lake.
The city of Bloomington continues to deal with issues of white supremacy and free speech at the city-run farmers market. Indiana University law professor Janine Bell says it's possible to limit hate speech on public property as long as the rules apply to everyone.
This is something that I would consider it an obligation of the city because no one's entitled to discriminate.
Tensions flared this summer after one vendor's ties to a white supremacist group came to light, and the city shut down the market for 2 weeks. The Farmers Market Advisory Council approved a number of changes to the handbook dealing with vetting vendors and conduct within the market. One of the changes prohibits picketing and demonstrating outside of designated free speech areas. The Parks Board will meet next month to consider whether the city will continue to run the market. Now, if the city decides not to run the market, that would open up the option to privatize it. A private market could bar vendors from participating without worrying about violating the First Amendment. Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk, we head to the biggest high school gym in Indiana. Or is it? Ahead, who can claim the coveted title of largest high school gym in the state? And French Lick officials hope a new plan to add homes in the city will help them meet the growing workforce at the French Lick Resort. These stories and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
The WTIU-WFYI News Team connects Indiana to the world. We bring you the top news of the day on radio, TV, and online. We round up the stories that have people talking each week and dig deep into the issues that affect your community the most. The WTIU-WFYI News Team is where you are and telling your story.
In a time of change, where can you find in-depth reporting and thoughtful analysis? Washington Week on PBS. Join moderator Robert Costa.
When I was at the Capitol this week, I encountered the same.
And a panel of award-winning journalists.
You're seeing a divided nation, and you're seeing
for insights and perspective.
Tonight there was a key development in the
Senate. You won't find anywhere else.
What a week.
Washington Week.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. French Lick Resorts recently added 71 new rooms along with the sports bar. Now it needs more workers to staff the growing tourism business. But that's where there's a problem. Those folks will need a place to live. Tyler Lake reports on officials' efforts to get more housing in the community.
The Christmas season is in full swing in French Lick. Chuck Franz runs French Lick Resorts, and he's excited about the season and all the guests it brings to town, but he's got something else on his mind.
Right now, we can't recruit. We can't get somebody from Louisville to give us a chance. Maybe they're a great chef or they're a good chef and they've heard about the resort and they want to come, but where are they going to live?
He says employee housing is vital to the success of the resort.
We were actually starting to get to the point with our 1,100 full-time associates. Even we get 600 more part-time associates in the summer, but we were starting to hear that people couldn't find a place to live. They couldn't find a place to rent.
According to Franz, there are 502 rental units in Orange County, and 500 of them are rented out. The other 2 are Section 8, and the impact of the housing shortage is felt throughout the community.
There's not a lot of places around here for rent or for sale or for anything, and some of the apartments like these ones back here, they're way too expensive because there's the jobs here don't pay that much.
Exley doesn't work at the resort, but he works at Pluto, the other big employer in town.
You either work at the hotel or you work at Pluto's, and that's about it.
And the resort is working with a builder to put 40 new apartments in town. They're laying the footers for that right now. But the next step is adding houses, and Franz thinks they've found the right place to build 25 new homes, Klondike Hill.
And what we plan to do is, again, we're looking in the 125 to 175 range, and we're going to build 10 homes.
They'll build and fill those 10 houses, then they'll start working on more. A $1 million matching grant from the Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority is helping to fund the project. If it's successful, they'll eventually build even more homes at a location on the other side of town.
We're going to keep building homes till there's no demand.
He says the housing shortage has never been a secret, but a recent report from the Regional Opportunities Initiatives came out at the exact right time.
It just affirmed to us what we saw 3 years ago. There's plenty of housing. It's $90,000 homes. The age of those homes are incredible. Now, what it did give us was some numbers that, 250 homes are going to be needed by 2025. 250 more homes are going to be needed by 2030.
And he's looking further than just French Lick and West Baden. He says the resort is also talking to community leaders in Orleans, Paoli, and Bedford, hoping to get more housing there, too. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Tyler Lake.
Well, in Indiana, basketball is a big deal. You can earn bragging rights for having a star player, the most wins, or the most championships. Even having the biggest gym is something to brag about. For years and years, Newcastle has been known as the biggest, not just in Indiana, but in the country. But the most recent count shows that's not correct. As our chief videographer, Seth Tackett, reports, Seymour, not Newcastle, is the new #1.
Sure, you always want to be the biggest and the best, right?
Certainly there's a lot of community pride in saying we have the biggest.
Boys basketball in Seymour, that was always a big deal.
Since the gym opened in 1970, 71, we've been like third in the state.
That was the place to be.
Wherever you go, somebody, if they know anything about Seymour, they're usually going to ask about a couple different things. They're going to ask about John Mellencamp, and they're going to ask about our gymnasium.
That's Richard Tucolvi, and he's a self-proclaimed professional seat counter. Armed with a tape measure and with blueprints in hand, he's been doing this for over 20 years. He's been in every county across the state, counting, measuring, and, well, helping rewrite the Indiana high school basketball record books.
We add all these numbers up. We have 8,228 seats in this gym.
8,228. That is how many Indiana high school basketball fans can fit in the Lloyd E. Scott Gymnasium in Seymour, Indiana.
That's what I counted March 14th, 2015, approximately 4.5 years ago. So they're pretty comparable. Newcastle doesn't have far to go to catch Seymour, Looks like it's 79-24 and 82-28. We're talking 304 seats would tie it. 305 seats, you could keep the sign up at Newcastle.
The long-held belief by basketball fans was that Newcastle could hold 9,325 fans and was therefore the home of the largest gym in the country, not Seymour. But decades of counting from Tekulve and his fellow Indiana High School Basketball Historical Society member Doug Bradley changed the landscape of high school gyms and sent Seymour to number 1 and Newcastle to number 3. And according to Tekulve, it's because of Newcastle's temporary seating.
Okay, the red line here is the actual, on this seating chart, is where the permanent seats are at. And all these seats above here are your 1,408 seats that haven't been used in a long time, and there's where the debate comes in, if you want to call it that word.
Newcastle Community Schools declined to comment on this story. The Historical Society is an organization dedicated to documenting and preserving the game's history. That is why Tekulve claims he spent hour after hour counting to set the record straight, because ticket sales were Newcastle's ticket to number 1, not permanent seating. Former Historical Society President John Auckman wanted the decades of counting to finally count and encouraged Bradley to set the record straight.
He kept saying that Newcastle is not the largest gym anymore in seating capacity. So I said, well, let's do something about it. And I finally pushed him. They said, let's go on record. So I called Lee Evans at hickoryhusker.com and said, here's the story. And he said, well, are you sure about it? And I said, yes, we can trust Doug Bradley. He's very thorough. He decided to put it on his website, hickoryhusker.com. And no one really said much, but then he put it out on Facebook.
When the news spread on social media, it was met with great fanfare from Seymour fans and disdain from the Newcastle faithful. Tom McKinney teaches a class at Indiana University on the history of Indiana high school basketball.
Certainly there's a lot of community pride in saying we have the biggest, but, I think in Newcastle they're probably saying still, well, we still think we have the largest high school and gymnasium, but in Seymour they're saying, yeah, but all of yours aren't permanent bleachers and everything. So there's a source of pride. I do see an advantage if you have a larger gymnasium. The IHSA will award you with a sectional and possibly a sectional and a regional, and just the fact that you're playing there all the time, I think, does give you an advantage when it goes in the tournament.
Former Michigan State guard and current Seymour athletic director Kurt Manns is in his first season as the boys basketball coach.
It's really neat to see somebody that hasn't been in this gym to walk in and watch their eyes get big and say, this is a high school gym. I say, yeah, it's a high school gym. And then I get a chance to tell them about the games that we're able to host here and all the games and how many years back and all the history. So it's a pretty neat deal. It's a place that our community takes a great deal of pride in.
And the radio voice of the Owls, Bud Shippey, has seen a lot of that history firsthand from his perch in the gymnasium.
We had a game in the regional where Damon Bailey played against Pat Graham, both IU players and both Mr. Basketballs. All three of the Zeller boys played here during the tournament. Both Bloomington South's and John Holmes and Jordy Hulls both played here, both regular season and tournament games. And of course, Romeo Langford.
Seymour has historically been a springboard to Bloomington for Hoosiers chasing a state championship through the gym, with a number of familiar faces making their mark. The game's winningest coach has paced a number of sidelines across the state and knows what a trip to Seymour means.
Well, usually when you're in the big gyms, you're in the tournament success and you're going down the trails, Seymour's been good. We've won a lot of games there and lost some games there in the regional finals and different regionals, but great gym, great facilities. They got the floor redone, the lighting's good, it's really lighting the place up. Obviously, if you have Romeo or Damon in those years, they filled it up. Last year we were there, obviously wasn't filled for even for the regional. You had to have a special player that the town went crazy over, like Bedford did Damon and New Albany did Romeo, that sold every ticket in the place. Great place, great venue, great atmosphere. Even when it's not completely filled in the regionals that we've played in, it's still like a big time place.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Seth Tackett.
And phase 1 of Bloomington's first co-housing project is nearing completion. 5 houses are already built with 4 foundations in the ground ready for construction. Parking lots and sidewalks are also nearing completion. Homeowners could begin moving in as early as May 2020.
We had a little groundbreaking ceremony out here with some of the committed residents, and it was just wonderful to walk around and get their feelings for how they're going to live here and see their excitement level.
Lauren Wood Builders is now working to hook up electricity and plumbing into the new community and to finish interiors. Williams says the plan is for 9 homes to be complete by next June. And that's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIU-News.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber Internet, streaming TV, home security and automation in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Maller Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. lawmg.com. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members. Thank you.